My girlfriend snapped, "Why are you spying on me? I'm saving for our future." When bank alerts exposed $12,000 missing, I simply asked, "How?" Then matched every charge to her work nights. Hours later, I met the man wearing what I'd paid for. I'm Drew, 30M. Licensed electrician with my own small business in Phoenix. Been with Paige, 27F, for 14 months, and I thought we had a solid financial arrangement until technology decided to show me exactly where our money was actually going. Here's the setup. I make good money, electrical work pays well, and running my own crew means I'm pulling in around $6,500 a month after expenses. When Paige and I moved in together 8 months ago, we agreed I'd handle the major bills since I make more. Rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, roughly $3,200 a month total. Paige works as a retail manager and makes about $2,800 monthly. The plan was that I'd cover living expenses while she saved her income for our future: engagement ring, wedding, house down payment. Made sense to me. I even opened a joint savings account for her to deposit her paychecks, thinking it would help us track progress toward shared goals. Everything seemed fine until 3 weeks ago when my bank started sending me detailed spending alerts. I'd enabled them for fraud protection, but they also track unusual spending patterns on linked accounts. That's when things got weird. Alert. Large purchase detected. $2,400 charged to joint account at Henderson Jewelry. I figured it was a mistake. When I asked Paige about it, she said it was an investment piece she'd gotten for me. Investment piece? Like what? A watch. For you, eventually, when the time is right. That seemed odd, but I believed her. Then more alerts started coming. $800 at Nordstrom. $600 at the Capitol Grill, which is this fancy steakhouse downtown. $450 at Lululemon. $300 at some high-end salon I'd never heard of. When I brought these up, Paige had explanations for everything. Work clothes, networking dinners, workout gear, treating herself for working hard. All reasonable individually, but the pattern was bothering me. Here's what didn't add up. Paige wasn't wearing any new expensive clothes. She wasn't working out more. Her hair looked the same, and I definitely hadn't seen any $2,400 watch. The biggest red flag was timing. These purchases were always made on days when Paige said she was working late or having girls' night. When I tried to discuss the spending pattern, Paige got defensive fast. "Are you tracking my purchases now? That's controlling behavior, Drew. It's not tracking, it's automatic alerts on our joint account. It's my money that I'm saving for us. I should be able to spend some of it. But these aren't things we need, and they're expensive things I'm not seeing in our daily life. So now you want receipts? That's not healthy, Drew." Rex, my best friend who's also a plumber, came by yesterday. When I told him about the situation, his reaction was immediate. "Dude, she's spending your money on someone else. That's paranoid thinking, is it? You're funding her lifestyle while she claims to be saving. But the money's disappearing on expensive shit you never see." That got me thinking. Last night, while Paige was at work inventory, I pulled up 6 months of bank statements for our joint account. What I found made my stomach drop. $12,847 in unexplained purchases over the past 6 months. High-end restaurants, expensive clothing stores, jewelry, electronics, even a $1,200 payment to something called BL Training Solutions. The pattern was clear. Every large purchase happened on days when Paige claimed to be working late or out with girlfriends. This morning, Rex came by for coffee. When I showed him the bank statements, his face went white. "Holy shit, Drew. 12 grand. I thought maybe she was buying some guy dinner here and there, but this is his entire lifestyle." Rex suggested we dig deeper. If she's dropping this kind of money on him, there's got to be evidence online. That's when we found Brett Lancaster's Instagram. Personal trainer, 32, lots of lifestyle shots. Recent posts showed him wearing a watch that looked exactly like the one Paige claimed to buy me. Designer clothes that matched the Nordstrom charges. Photos from the Capitol Grill on the exact date our account got charged $600. BL Training Solutions, Brett Lancaster Training Solutions. I've been paying for my girlfriend's other boyfriend's personal training business. For 6 months, I've been working 50-hour weeks to fund Paige's secret relationship, while she told me we were building a future together. Update 1. I've spent the past few days becoming a financial detective, and what I found is so much worse than I initially thought. Rex convinced me to do a thorough audit before confronting Paige. Get all the evidence first, he said, because when you show her what you know, she's going to try to gaslight you into thinking you're crazy. He was right to push for a complete investigation. I printed out every bank statement from the past 6 months and cross-referenced them with social media posts, both Paige's and Brett's. The pattern of deception is unbelievable. Here's what I discovered. Valentine's Day was the first red flag I'd missed completely. $400 charged to Romano's fine dining while Paige told me she was working inventory until midnight. That same night, Brett posted an Instagram story from Romano's. Champagne, roses, the whole romantic setup. Then in March, $800 disappeared at Nordstrom. And a few days later, Brett's posting gym photos wearing a hoodie and joggers that still had tags on them. I could see the damn tags in the background of Paige's Instagram stories. But the big one was March 22nd, $2,400 at Henderson Jewelry. 3 days later, Brett posts a photo of his wrist wearing a Rolex Submariner with some caption about being blessed and grateful for the people who believe in me. That was my money on his wrist, and he was thanking Paige like she was his generous benefactor. April got even worse. $1,200 to BL Training Solutions. And 2 days later, Brett's posting about expanding his business with new equipment. Then May rolls around and $600 vanishes at the Capitol Grill. On the same night, Brett posts, date night at the best steakhouse in Phoenix. Every single, expensive purchase correlates with Brett's social media posts. I've been funding this guy's entire lifestyle while working 10-hour days and eating PB&J sandwiches for lunch to save money. But the investigation revealed something even more infuriating. Brett's been flaunting the relationship online while I had no idea it existed. His Instagram is full of date night photos, expensive dinners, weekend getaways, gym couple photos, always with the same woman whose face is strategically hidden or cropped out. But you can see enough to know it's Paige. Her hair, her hands, her jewelry. The timeline shows they've been together for at least 8 months, which means she started dating him right after we moved in together. I've been paying rent for the apartment where she brings her other boyfriend. Rex came over yesterday to help me figure out next steps. You could just kick her out and be done with it, he said. But this Brett guy has no idea where this money is coming from. What do you mean? Look at his posts. He thinks she's wealthy. All this expensive shit she's buying him, the fancy dates, the business investment. He thinks she's some rich retail heiress. Rex pulled up Brett's Instagram and showed me a post from last month. Grateful for my girl who believes in my dreams and invests in our future. Some people are just naturally generous and successful. This guy thinks Paige is funding his lifestyle out of her own success. He doesn't know about you, Rex said. He has no idea there's another man paying for everything. So he's not even consciously being an asshole? He's being an asshole by dating someone else's girlfriend. But the financial part? He probably thinks she's loaded. That got me thinking about the confrontation strategy. I could just dump Paige and move on. Or I could expose the whole situation to both of them. Rex suggested the second option. Brett deserves to know he's been living off another man's money, and Paige deserves to face both of you at the same time. So yesterday, I did more investigation. Found out Brett works at Elite Fitness Phoenix downtown. His schedule is posted on the gym's website. He's there every weekday from 8 p.m. I also called my dad to get his perspective. Tom went through something similar when I was a kid. My mom was using his money to fund a lifestyle with another guy before she eventually left us both. The hardest part, Dad told me, was realizing I'd been working myself to death to pay for her to betray me. But the best part was learning to protect myself financially. What would you do in my situation? I'd make sure both of them understood exactly what happened. Then I'd focus on building something for myself, instead of for someone who's using me. Dad's advice settled it. Tomorrow I'm going to Elite Fitness with 6 months of bank statements. Time for Brett to learn where his Rolex money really came from. The crazy thing is, I'm not even angry anymore. I'm weirdly excited to see their reactions when they realize how deep this deception goes. Paige texted this morning. Working late again tonight, babe. Don't wait up. According to our bank account activity, She's about to spend another $400 on dinner with Brett while texting me about working late. Rex is coming with me tomorrow as backup. I want to see this guy's face when he finds out his sugar mama is actually a middle-class retail manager spending her electrician boyfriend's money. Edit. Just checked. Paige charged $350 to Scottsdale Wine Bar 2 hours ago. Brett's Instagram story shows champagne glasses and the exact same view I'm seeing on the receipt. It's going to be very interesting to show Brett exactly where his champagne money came from. Update 2. Yesterday's confrontation was unlike anything I've ever experienced. Both the satisfaction and the devastation exceeded my expectations. Rex and I showed up at Elite Fitness around 6 p.m. Brett was easy to spot. Looked exactly like his Instagram photos, wearing the Rolex I'd unknowingly bought him. I walked up to him while he was between clients and introduced myself. Brett, I'm Drew. I think we need to talk about Paige. His face immediately got defensive. Look, if you're some ex-boyfriend trying to cause drama, I'm not her ex. I'm her current boyfriend, the one who's been paying for your relationship with her. You could see the confusion cross his face. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone and showed him a photo of our bank statements. See this joint account? Every expensive gift Paige has bought you, every dinner you've been on, every payment to your training business, it's all been my money. Brett stared at the phone screen. That's not. Paige has her own money. She manages a high-end retail store. She manages a Target, makes $2,800 a month, lives with me. I pay all our bills while she's supposed to be saving for our future. I showed him the correlation between charges and his Instagram posts. The Rolex purchase date matched his post exactly. The restaurant charges lined up with his date night stories. This Rolex on your wrist? $2,400 from our joint savings account. That hoodie you're wearing? $180 from Nordstrom, purchased with my money. The $200 your business received in March? That was my paycheck. Brett's face went through about 10 different emotions. Confusion, disbelief, anger, humiliation. She told me she came from money, said she was investing in my business because she believed in my potential. She's been using you to spend my money while lying to both of us. That's when Brett got angry. Not at me, at Paige. So you're telling me I've been unknowingly living off another man's money for 8 months? 8 months? I've been tracking purchases for 6 months. You guys have been together longer than that. We started dating in February, right after she told me she'd gotten out of a bad relationship and was ready for something real. February was when Paige and I moved in together. Brett pulled out his phone and started scrolling through his messages with Paige. She's been telling me you were her controlling ex who wouldn't leave her alone, that she was afraid to completely cut contact because you knew where she worked. My jaw dropped. I've been paying her bills for 14 months. We've been living together for 8 months. I'm not her ex. I'm her current boyfriend who's been funding your entire relationship. The look on Brett's face shifted to something between rage and humiliation. I need to call her. Right now. He called Paige on speaker. She answered cheerfully. Hey babe, what's up? I'm just finishing work. Paige, I'm standing here with Drew. We need to talk. Dead silence on the phone. I can explain. Explain what? That you've been using his money to fund our relationship? That I've been wearing a watch paid for by the guy you live with? Brett, it's not what it sounds like. What does it sound like, Paige? Because it sounds like you've been running 2 relationships simultaneously and financing one with the other's money. Drew is controlling, and I was trying to leave him, but I needed financial security to... I took the phone. Paige, I'm looking at 8 months of charges on our joint account. Charges that perfectly match every expensive date, every gift, every business investment you've made with Brett. None of this was about leaving me. This was about using my income to fund a double life. More silence. Brett grabbed the phone back. We're done, Paige. I can't be with someone who's been lying to me about something this fundamental. I don't want to be supported by another man's money. Brett, please, let me explain. There's nothing to explain. You've been playing both of us, and I'm not interested in being part of whatever game this is. He hung up. Then Brett looked at me. Man, I'm sorry. I had no idea. If I'd known she was using someone else's money. You couldn't have known. She's a professional manipulator. Still, this is messed up. I feel sick wearing this watch now. Brett started taking off the Rolex. Here, this is yours. Keep it. Consider it payment for helping me understand what was really happening. We talked for about 20 minutes. Turns out Brett had been genuinely falling for Paige, thinking she was this successful, generous woman who believed in his business dreams. Learning that it was all built on financial deception had completely shattered his image of her. The worst part, Brett said, is that I was starting to think she was the one. I was planning to propose next month. With money she was stealing from our joint account, probably. Brett laughed bitterly. Definitely. She'd been hinting about wanting a ring. My phone started buzzing with calls from Paige. I declined them all. Rex and I drove home to find Paige's car in our driveway. She was sitting on the porch, crying. Drew, please let me explain. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You've been using my money to fund a relationship with another man while lying to both of us. I was trying to leave you, but I needed financial stability. For 8 months, while moving in with me and opening joint accounts? That's not leaving. That's exploiting. She followed us into the house, crying and apologizing. But the apologies kept shifting between different stories. First it was about being afraid to leave me. Then it was about wanting to make sure Brett was serious before ending things. Then it was about the money not meaning anything because she was planning to pay it back. Pay it back with what money, Paige? You've spent everything you've earned and more. That's when she got angry. I work hard for my money too. I deserve to spend some of it on things that make me happy. You spent my money, $12,000 of my money, on another man. It's our money. We're a couple. No, we were a couple. You were running a business. I was the investor. Brett was the product. And you were keeping all the profits. I told her she had until Sunday to move out. Changed the passwords on all accounts that night and called the bank to remove her access. 3 days later, and my phone hasn't stopped buzzing with calls and texts from Paige. But I'm not interested in hearing more explanations or excuses. The weird thing is how relieved I feel. Rex was right. Getting all the evidence first made it impossible for her to gaslight me during the confrontation. Started therapy this week to work through the financial betrayal issues. Turns out growing up with my mom's financial abandonment made me vulnerable to this exact type of manipulation. But today I bought a new truck with the money I would have been spending on Paige's secret relationship. Cash purchase. No financing needed. Feels good to spend my money on something that's actually mine. Final update: life has changed dramatically since I exposed Paige's financial infidelity. Figured I'd wrap up this story since people have been asking for closure. First, the Paige aftermath. She moved out that Sunday, but the drama continued for weeks. She spent the first month trying to convince mutual friends that I was financially abusive and that she'd been saving money to escape. Most people saw through it when I showed them the bank statements proving she'd spent $12,000 on another man. The second month, she tried a different approach, claiming she'd been confused and didn't realize what she was doing. She wanted to work things out and promised to pay back everything she'd spent. By the third month, when her attempts at reconciliation failed, she got lawyers involved. Tried to claim she was entitled to half the money in our joint account because we'd been common law married. Arizona doesn't recognize common law marriage, and her attorney quickly dropped the case when they saw the evidence of financial fraud. The real wake-up call for Paige came when she had to start paying her own bills. Turns out $2,800 a month doesn't go very far when you're used to living on someone else's $6,500. She moved back in with her parents in Tucson and, according to mutual friends, has been working 2 jobs to make ends meet. Brett reached out to me a few months ago. He'd gotten into therapy to work through the manipulation trauma and wanted to apologize again for unknowingly being part of the deception. I keep thinking about how I was walking around wearing your money on my wrist, he said. I returned all the gifts to the stores I could identify. Made about $3,000, and I want you to have it. I told him to keep the money and invest it in his business legitimately this time. You were a victim too, I said. She manipulated both of us. We actually became friends through this whole experience. Brett's business is doing well now. Turns out he's a good trainer when he's not distracted by financial fraud drama. The biggest change has been in my relationship with money. Started working with a financial advisor to understand how my childhood experiences made me vulnerable to this type of exploitation. You were taught that providing equals love, she explained. When someone accepted your financial support, you felt valued and needed. But healthy relationships require mutual contribution, not just one person funding the other's lifestyle. That was a hard lesson to accept. I genuinely enjoyed being able to provide for Paige, felt proud that my hard work could support both of us. But I was confusing being useful with being loved. Started dating again about 4 months ago. The difference is night and day. The women I meet now appreciate my work ethic without trying to exploit it. We split bills, contribute equally, discuss major purchases together. Met someone special last month, Alice, who's an accountant and actually understands financial boundaries better than I do. When I told her about the Paige situation, her reaction was immediate. That's not relationship spending. That's theft. That's what my lawyer said too. Good. Financial transparency isn't controlling. It's basic respect. Alice and I have been taking things slow, but she's already shown me what healthy financial partnership looks like. We each pay our own way on dates, contribute equally to shared experiences, discuss future financial goals openly. The business has been thriving since I stopped funding someone else's secret life. That $200 a month I was spending on bills for Paige, half of it went toward expanding my electrical contracting business. Hired 2 new guys, bought better equipment, started taking on bigger commercial projects. The other half went toward things I'd been neglecting. New tools, truck maintenance, an emergency fund that's actually for emergencies instead of secret boyfriend gifts. My dad has been proud of how I handled the situation. You learned the lesson I took 10 years to figure out, he said. Generosity without boundaries is just exploitation waiting to happen. What's the difference between being generous and being used? Generous is helping someone build their life. Being used is funding someone's lies. Rex has been joking that I should thank Paige for the learning experience. She taught you exactly what red flags to watch for, he said. Plus, she made room in your life for someone who actually deserves your work ethic. He's not wrong. The financial fraud was devastating, but it also forced me to develop skills I needed. How to investigate suspicious behavior, how to trust evidence over explanations, how to protect myself financially. Paige texted me last week asking if we could meet for coffee to talk about closure. I didn't respond. The closure happened 6 months ago when she moved out of the apartment my money was paying for. According to mutual friends, she's been telling people that our breakup was mutual and that she learned a lot about herself. Whatever story helps her sleep at night. The funniest part is that she tried to connect with me on LinkedIn last month. Her new job title, Financial Services Representative. The irony was too much to ignore.